Welcome to your next tutorial in CSS, and this tutorial is going to be like a marathon. There's a lot of stuff we're going to be covering. We're going to be talking about lists, backgrounds, links, and tables. So let's get started with this. So first let's create an ordered list. You can create an unordered list if you'd like to. That would just be a UL. And let's create a piece of data for this. And I'm going to actually create two. Why not? I'll call this 1. I'll call this 10. Oh yeah, I'll create 3. 100 and 1,000. Even though those numbers are really irrelevant, you can put whatever you want. So, let's see how this looks. Oh, and there it is with numbers. But what if we want to change those numbers? Let's do that in CSS. So we'll just type in the name of the element that we used. Ordered list is what I used. And then in the middle, I know we've done this before, but I'm going to show you again in CSS format. List style type. And for this, I'm going to type in decimal. Even though they're already decimals, I'm going to change it to decimal leading 0. Let's see what happens there. I'm going to press F5, and now there's leading decimals. Now I would also like to mention that you can do a lot of the things that I showed you in the advanced texting formatting video in the previous video. For an example here, you can still do the very similar things, such as background color. Let's make that green. Press F5. Now the background for this whole all this list is now green. But you can also mess with one of the individual elements, like LI, if you want those lists to come out differently. You can type in, let's see here, background, whoops, and let's see here, yellow. Press save. And now the pieces of data are yellow, but then if you go back to actual list, it's still green. So now what if we wanted to use a custom image that we already have? Well, I already have an image in the same folder as my CSS file, but in order to do this, instead of list style type, we'll use list style image. Then right here, we'll type in URL, pair of parentheses, and then the name. Mine is point.gif, I believe it is. So then I'll reload the page, and there they are. Now this looks really bad. I know I'm not trying to show off any kind of professional looking site, as you could probably tell. This, if I ever showed this to my boss, I'd probably get fired. Even if it was a joke, he wouldn't laugh. But anyways, that's about it for lists. Now moving into backgrounds, let's mess with the body so that we can mess with the background. So, as you might have remembered, background color, let's make it black. And that worked. And, of course, you can also use an image, as you might have remembered before. Again, I know I've showed you guys this before, but seeing it twice really helps in remembering this material. So smiley.jpg, see how that comes out. Whoa. I think that made me dizzy the last time I saw it, and it still does. So maybe I don't want this to repeat. So what I could do, just go background, repeat, no repeat. This would be really good, especially if you have an image that's like 1600 by 1200 or something really big, so it will take up the entire screen for any user. And another one is maybe you want it to move, because look at this, it's blocked. I want to be able to see it. So what I could do is mess with the background position, and this is might be a little hard to understand if you're not like a big fan of graphing and in math and whatnot. But what this is are the X and Y coordinates of the upper left corner of the image. See how it's at 0 pixels by 0 pixels? So this is the X axis and this is the Y axis. So if I made this like 150 pixels, it's going to move 150 across the x-axis, which it does. Then if I go down, let's say 200 in the y-axis, it's going to actually go in the negative direction, if you're into math and all, down the y-axis. And that's about it for backgrounds. Now, for links, let's create a link here. I'm going to actually make this, I'm going to make a separate link. And I'll just call it link. Then for href, I can't really think of a site that I haven't been to. I mean, how would I think of a site I haven't been to? So I'm just gonna, and then I'm gonna tamper with it. I'm just gonna call it that. So notice how the link is blue. That's its standard look. It has a different look for when you hover over it. Well, not typically, but you can make it different when you hover over it. A different look when you are clicking it. As you're clicking it, it's active, and then once you've visited it and you go back, and it will be purple instead. And you can actually mess with this. So when you're messing with anchor tags, you type in A and then a colon. Then just to mess with the standard link, you type in link, then open and close, and let's just change the text color. So I'll just go color colon green. Green's a favorite color, was one of my favorite colors. That's probably why you hear me say it a lot. So, and it turns green. In order to mess with it when you're hovering over it, A colon hover. Then let's go, I don't know, text align. Nah, it's not gonna. No, I'm kidding. Font style. Do you think this will work? Press F5, and it italicizes when you're hovering over it. Then this is really weird because people don't really think about it, but you can actually change the active. That's while you're clicking it. So let's go font weight bold. Click save. I press F5 and let's see what happens. Yep, as I'm holding down my mouse, my left click, it is bold. Then for visited, it's just A colon visited. And let's just mess with the color again. Make it orange. Now I'm going to change this link to, where is it? To actually Google, because then I've actually visited. So when I refresh the page, now the link is orange. Now let's move on to tables. I know this is a lot of stuff. So I'm going to create a break here. Now I'm going to create a table. End table, tr, end table row, and then 3 pieces of data. I'll make it 3 grades. How about that? You can pretend that they're like letter grades. Copy, paste, paste. So for table, just type in table, and then within these tags, let's change what the border looks like. So first of all, border style, let's make it dashed. Border width, let's make it, I don't know, 3 pixels. So let's see how that comes out. I press F5 and oh, I don't have anything inside it. It might help for me to actually have pieces of data. It would make it much more visible. Now I'll press F5, and there it is. There's your dashed border, and it's how many pixels? Whatever number of pixels thick I made it. And there's our each of our 3 pieces of data. Now, the last thing I'd like to show you with tables is how you can make it different depending on what piece of data you're over. So you can do hover just like this. So I'll go table, hover, open, and I can change it to, let's see here, background color. I'll make it red. Spending too much time trying to think of what I'm going to do. So I press F5 and I hover over it. Now it's red. I can also change the individual pieces of data as well. I can change the row too, really. So for table row, I can make background color orange. Then on top of that, I can actually specify the table data as well. And I was going to make these hovers. You can mess with these individuals as well, but I'm going to just skip ahead and do the more advanced stuff because this is probably very obvious to you anyways. Hover. And then I'll change the text color here to, I don't know, pink. I think pink's one. And I'll even change the text decoration to, I'll change it to overline, why not? So I press F5. When I hover over one thing, you can see the text turns pink. You can hardly see it. But we get all this same effect when you go over each one. When you hover over one data, the color turns pink and the decoration becomes overlined. You can hardly see it. You know what? This was a bad idea. I'm going to change this to, what's a dark color? Blue? So you can actually see it. There you go. You can see the little line above the CCC, and the words themselves, CCC, are blue. And notice how the background's now orange. You see how there's this red border? That's because the table is supposed to be red when you hover over the table like this. But then only the border around each cell is red as the row itself becomes orange. So that's a lot of pieces of data going on at once, but that's pretty much it. A lot of different things that you can do when you're hovering over something, or if you've clicked something, or while you're clicking something. It's pretty cool. So I hope this was an informative video, and I hope to see you next time.